Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Team and Finances. The one and only Dylan Lindner with us, and I'm Andrew. I'll be your host tonight. How are you doing tonight, Dylan?
Oh, ready as always for the DLC that's happening in what is it, 2 days from now? 3 days from now? Yeah, I'm so ready. I know what I'm playing. I'm going to beat all my opponents. They shouldn't even show up. I'm so prepared. It's crazy how prepared I am. That was convincing, right? That was convincing that
I mean, you already said the part where you already picked a deck. That's already beating your DLC Vegas record by about 3 days. So you heard it all, folks.
I didn't lie about that, right?
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. If you like this kind of content, please drop a like, drop a comment. Let us know how you're feeling about the finances of Lorcana, which is a little bit in flux. As usual, as we enter into a DLC, now the last DLC of this season, prices of cards tend to change a little bit. And we have some spicy ones for you this evening, don't we, Dylan?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of DLCs, why don't we start off with the DLC promos? Of course, I am talking about Rapunzel Gifted with Healing and Big Cinderella. They're going up in price. Rapunzel was kind of floating around that 110 price, and we can see her slowly going up from 110 to, about 125, and it's just going up to there. There's only 23 listings on TCG Player, and they just keep going on and up and up. Same thing with Cinderella Stouthearted. She was around $100, and now she's going to 115, 120, and only 28 listings on there. And as far as I'm aware, nobody has said that these are for sure confirmed to be reprinted. So Seattle might be the last chance you can get them. And if they're already going up because people are thinking, well, Seattle's the last DLC, who's to say they won't skyrocket after that? So if you are going to the Seattle DLC, I highly recommend you buy your promos now, because I don't think they're going to reprint them. I really don't. If they did, that's cool. They are very good looking promos, but I think they're going to move on. I think they're going to move on. And the only basis I really have of that is the early check-in promos haven't been the same, because at Toronto was the Flotsam Jetsam, but now it's the Kristoff promo. So they've shown us a willingness to change the promos. So I believe that after DLC, maybe Continentals and Invites will have the Rapunzels and Cindy's, but as soon as we start a new DLC season, I am 100% confident that these promos will not be reprinted.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest mystery as we enter in the last DLC of the season, is that what is exactly is going to happen with these promo cards. Like, if they don't get reprinted and they don't use this art again, like, are we ever going to see them again? And was this really the only opportunity? Which not just skyrockets the prices of the non-foil promos, like, what's that going to mean for the promos that you could only win if you top 64'd, or specifically top 32'd, top 16'd? That's the foil Rapunzel and the foil Cinderella. What's it going to mean for Let It Go? What's it going to mean for Dragonfire? Dragonfire, the promo just for entering the DLC, is still hovering $44, which is just about the entry fee of the DLC. So, it's like, if Dragonfire becomes relevant again, are these going to be like really hard to get chase cards again?
Yeah, it's hard to say. So honestly, I would be on a buy, basically. If you are looking for these promos, buy them. Obviously, if you can get them with tickets, go for it. But buy, trade, whatever you can. I really do think these are going to go up, and I really do think it's your last chance. But let's keep the promo train rolling. I actually wanted to talk about set championship promos. Currently, Mirabelle Madrigal is the lowest set champ promo right now. She's hovering around $45, but I've seen her dip as low as 40. Now, we do have one more set championship to go to. For us, in the Pacific Northwest, most of us are going to Seattle, so there's not actually going to be a lot of Mirabelles given out this week, but in other places, there's going to be plenty of Mirabelles. So I can see her dipping below, I don't know, $35 at the lowest, just because we have a whole nother week of rotation for the Mirabelle promos. But I'm actually surprised she's keeping at $45, because when I saw her dip below 40 last week, I thought, okay, she's only going to go down, 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 down from there. So it's good to see that she's standing strong, at $45. The Madrigal playmats, the champion one you get for winning the DLC, or not the DLC. That would be store championships. It's like a DLC, but at home. That's a tricky one to peg down. TCG Player currently only has 7 listings. Right now it goes for around 90 to 110, unless you're Dr. Nog's shop, who has one currently listed for $300. So your mileage may vary on your championship playmat, but realistically, I think it's looking to be around the $90 to $100 mark. Now, personally, I would just hang on to these, as we're going to talk about a little bit later. I think the playmats for championships and secondaries are a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and you kind of want to hold on to them. And especially the championship one's kind of harder to move. Most people don't want to buy a championship map because they feel like kind of fake about it. You know, like, oh yeah, I want a store champ you never heard of. So I'm definitely a hold on these ones. And same thing with the runner-up playmat. It's going for around $90. I'm kind of a hold on that as well, because as we are going to talk about, the Ursula championship playmat and the runner-up playmat are going up. Currently, the championship one is listed. There's only 9 listings, Andrew, and it's around $115 and going up. I see 115, and then it goes to 145, 170, $200. That there's only 9 listings, and it's the championship playmat, and there's no other way to get them. So I think we're really seeing a pattern of, if you just wait a little bit for stuff that you can only get once, inevitably it goes up. Ursula herself is floating around $100 or so, but there's only 22 listings on TCG Player, and I think, you know, give it a couple weeks, she might go up. Again, she's a promo that is playable, which is a huge factor, and 2, you can't really get her anymore, and people are going to want to get these promos, especially because she was given originally only as a top 4. So we could easily see Ursula double up in like a couple months or so. The second place playmat only has 9 listings, and it's currently going for $120 to $250. Like, these exclusive promos and playmats are just going through the roof. And you know what, Andrew? What if I told you the exact same pattern is also happening for Stitch Rockstar? Stitch Rockstar promos are looking around $350 to $380. There's only 28 listings. These aren't very high listings, and you know, it is quite a lot down from what it was first going for, you know, $700, $1,000, $1,200. But with only 28 listings and the price slowly going up, it only takes a few people to buy those out before it starts becoming a $400, $500 promo. And I'll say it again, the playmats, Andrew, the playmats. They're also going up. Stitch Rockstar playmat only has 5 listings on now. One of them for $263 and $8.99 shipping, and then it goes to $350 for the Rockstar Stitch Champion playmat. And I don't know why I can't say that today. I sold mine. I'm looking pretty sad right now, because apparently now it's a $350 playmat, and with that kind of scarcity, it probably will go up, because this is the first one, and I think, in my opinion, it looks the best. But you know, Stitch fanboys, he's a very popular character. He's definitely more popular than Ursula or Mirabelle, so he's just going up. But even the second place, the runner-up playmat, currently only has 8 listings, and it's around $220, but there's a listing for $500. Now, I don't think someone's going to buy it for $500, but that means when you have that scarcity of listings, it's probably going to sell somewhere in between $250 and $500, which means around $300, $350. And to me, that's just crazy that these promos, these playmats and stuff that people were just selling, gotta get rid of them, are now slowly starting to get up.
We haven't really talked about much at all in the series, which is the non-card Lorcana related things. At some point, we'll probably talk a little bit more about pins, but playmats specifically have a very unique market. If we look at some of the older playmats, like the first chapter playmats, like the Maleficent playmat, I think is around 150. So even the ones that you didn't obtain through a promo method, you just got like in a store or like from, you know, Best Buy or wherever, like even those have a really high value if you just got them super early. The Mickey Mouse Steamboat playmat, still high in value. The Maui one, lesser than those two, but still high. These guys, this 2023 and 2024 convention mat, they hold a lot of value. The Cindy will probably hold a lot of value for a while. I don't even want to know what the Rapunzel one is doing. But some of these playmats are still pretty high.
Yeah, it's so interesting that in the finance world, it's just not about the cards alone. It's about the product as well. You know, play mats and all these special giveaways and stuff that you can only get exclusively. And in the moment, it seems like a lot because it's like, oh, well, they're giving them out for 4 weeks, so everyone's gonna get one and stuff. But eventually, a few months pass by, and they're like, oh yeah, these are never getting reprinted again, and nobody's hasn't gotten them for months, so they're just going to keep going up, 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 and up. And I didn't even really think about it. I was like, oh, I should sell my promo, I should sell my playmat because next week they're going to be cheaper, and the week after that, and the week after that. And that was correct in the term. Money yesterday is worth always more today. But if you held on to it, good for you. I think you're about to pay up. I think you're really gonna stick for your long-term gains, and that's awesome. Andrew, what is going on with first chapter boxes? My gosh, they are currently over $300. Andrew, it goes to 305, 310, 350.
Actually crazy.
Crazy. And we is this the limit? We don't know. They never said, hey, RB never told us we're stop printing the first chapter. They never said we're going to continue the printing the first chapter. So like, where's the ceiling on these sealed boxes?
If we look at like the timings of all these releases, like at the Inklands set championships, like stores got first chapter as prize support. I believe they also got it in the Ursula's Return set championships. This time they did not at all. There was no first chapter that went out, and I don't think first chapter has actually been released to the public ever since the Australia release, which was, I want to say, September, August, around then. So this might just be it. I think first chapter is actually might just be gone now, and what we have is what we have. I know, because like then we look at the other elements, which is, well, what's one unique thing about first chapter is that the packs all of a sudden became part of the side events at DLC, which it wasn't beforehand. So the packs stopped being released to the store champs, possibly, but then used as tournament support at these big events. So like, hey, you don't have first chapter. Here's your chance to play with it, and the demand was obviously through the roof. Are we going to see the same thing with Rise? Because now we have Rise of the Floodborn as a sealed event at DLC Seattle, and no DLC events after this. Who knows what's going to happen with first chapter, and I guess now Rise of the Floodborn. Like, are we seeing the tail ends of their production cycles?
Maybe, and even more first chapter stonks. They also raised the ticket prices for first chapter boxes by 10 tickets. It was 38 tickets in Vegas. Now it's 48. So it might be very telling. Now we do have one more reprint of first chapter, and that's specifically for the Japanese market because Japan isn't getting their first chapter until I believe sometime next year. Which we haven't really talked about foreign cards ever. But I think that's huge. I think the Japanese language looks very good. The kanji looks amazing. So first chapter Japanese cards might be the only way to get first chapter ever again. I don't know. The market's gonna go crazy if they don't reprint this though. Like it's so crazy. But oh man, this feels like the olden days of of Lorcana when first chapter boxes were just insane.
Yeah, you all remember those times when first chapter was like we would go to the tournaments and maybe get a pack for participation, and then maybe it was like $8-10 to enter, but that's all you got, and we were all just thrilled to even get one pack. It's like, oh wow, this was our pack for the week, thank goodness. Here it is. I've been waiting all week for this. Don't miss those days, but it feels like here we are again with first chapter.
Well, enough about expensive sealed boxes and promos. Let's talk about meta staple relevant cards. Sisu, Empowered Sibling. It's around $30 cold foil, and I personally think it has a great potential to go up. Now, in our last finance video, we talked about, what if this deck wins? What cards do we think will go up? And I think if Blue-Red wins, which is a high possibility, I think it is still going to be the most represented deck in Seattle, just like how it was in Vegas. Sisu can go up, and we even see lists of Red-Purple play Sisu, and it is so strong. It is a great card. It is a 4 of in most lists. If Blue-Red doesn't win and this card drops, because usually we have a lower prices when a new set is about to be released, I'm on pick these up because I think this card is very good. Other meta-relevant cards, we gotta talk about Prince John, our boy PJ. As we alluded to in a previous video, I thought PJ was a little too low. Currently, he's a $5 non-cold foil rare, with the potential to possibly even go up. Seattle is in a few days. Everyone is gunning for green steel. It was kind of a surprise deck out of Vegas, but if it still wins after everyone is gunning for it, I think Prince John can go up, and the cold foil prices reflect that. They're currently $15 right now. That is so crazy. That's a 3 times multiplier. Speaking of 3 times multipliers, I know you're happy about this one. Finders, Keepers, Enchanted. A possible meta-relevant card. My gosh, remember when people were upset that they pulled this because it was $40? It is clearly over $100 now, and that's the back of the Red-Purple community saying, guys, you want to know how you want it? You want to know the sauce about beating green steel? It's draw 3 cards. They can't take it with Ursula. You draw 3 cards, that gets you closer to your beat prepares. How do they stop it? It's inkable. There's no downsides. Honestly, if some Red-Purple list does well with playing Finders Keepers, this Enchanted's going to go through the roof. It's already gone through the roof. I mean, it's almost made you 3 times your money, and I think it can go up a whole lot more. Unfortunately, Andrew knew about this news before I could tell him to, here's $20, give me Finders Keepers Enchanted, so... But yeah, Finders Keepers is crazy. I did not expect that one coming, but you know what? Ed, Typo, all those guys, they clearly are the Red-Purple masters, so good on them.
I do want to make note of the fact that people were, when Finders Keepers art was released, people were like, this is like the most boring Enchanted ever. And yet now it sits as the 3rd most valuable Enchanted from the set. Ironic how that happens. Meta relevancy seems to topple art pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why we saw the meta relevant Enchanteds shoot up the first time when Morph hit over $200 and Tinkerbell $500. Meta relevancy definitely plays a huge part of it, and also being a princess. Those are the 2 most important factors. But I think Finders Keepers art was pretty good. But I wasn't too high on the card myself. But metas change, people adapt. People didn't expect green steel for a long time, which they were correct at the time. But now green steel's back, so people are kind of adapting to the meta, so that's awesome. Speaking of meta-relevant cards that I think are kind of cheap, let's talk about Daisy Duck. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. This super rare was what, 15, 20 plus dollars when it was first count. I remember I couldn't keep daisies in my trade binder. People are like, I need daisies. I need 4 of them. I need 8 of them. I need 25 of them. And yeah, they would just sell all day. Now she is a whopping $6, maybe 7. It's just crazy. Daisy's still a meta relevant card, and I do think it is worth picking up towards the end of the set 5 meta, just because when we enter a new meta, aggro tends to be the default good thing to do. So why not pick up a couple daisies for $5 a pop? Then you have your playset for 20, and she might go up just because aggro is a kind of a day 0 a way to attack the meta. But we're not done with the epic falls. Oh, Prince Naveen. I remember when you were $40. Now you're $15. Yeah, it's just... I think it's just that people are kind of down on Steel Song. With the rise of Green Steel and, Blue-Red and all these other decks, people are saying, Steel Song might not be the best Steel deck, A lot of people are attributing that to Green Steel, and Prince Naveen has just been dropping ever since. I still think this card is very good, and in the future, we're going to have plenty of strong songs, plenty of crazy mechanics, and I think $15 is pretty dang cheap for a meta relevant card. I mean, Stillsong still plays him as a 2-3 of, even Green Yellow plays him in the discard variant. I think the card's pretty cheap, and I would definitely keep an eye on him. Another meta relevant card is Robin Hood, the champion of Sherwood. Currently, he's around $35, which is low for him because usually he's always floated around that $40 to $45. I'm not a buy on him currently, but if he does dip below $35, I think it's very good to start picking him up. He's a very relevant card. He has great stats, and if he dips below $30, that's great. Usually cards tend to fall down a lot at the end of a meta, which we are about to approach. Cold Flow's around $45. That seems fine. If it goes below them, I would definitely pick them up. But in terms of meta relevant cards, that's pretty much all I got. You know, a couple of why is this happening, a couple of here's what you should buy. Yeah, keep your eye out, pay close attention to Seattle, because that's definitely going to dictate what cards go up and what cards go down.
I think you, on Prince Naveen, you kind of touched to an important point, which is that a lot of the valuable cards from Shimmering Skies all kind of fall suit to the same underlying problem, which is you don't really want to play like 4 of them. Like Prince Naveen, not a lot of decks, not a lot of Steel Song decks actually want to run 4. Mufasa, which I think is the next most valuable legendary, I think most decks only run 1 or 2. Mostly Blurple, some red-blue variants. The only legendary when we get to ones that you really want to see 4 of is Clarabelle. And I would say a majority of the green-purple decks I see don't run 4. They run somewhere in the neighborhood of 3. Cards that aren't absolute necessity you need 4 of these, we're seeing the price kind of reflect that. Whereas a card like Champion of Sherwood, Robin Hood Champion of Sherwood, and Beast Tragic Hero, those are absolute 4s. I don't think I've seen a list in a long time that does run Robin Hood that doesn't run 4 Robin Hood or doesn't run 4 Beast. So like those are absolute 4 ofs, and that's the reason why those are hanging in that 30-40 range.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that the Shimmering Skies cards are so cheap. Like the most expensive card right now is Clarabelle, and she's not even $20. So I think a lot of these Shimmering Sky cards are going to drop right before the meta rotates. And I would be very interested in a lot of these. I mean, Clarabelle sub $20. The Robin Hood that lets you cheat out stuff is sub $5. Merlin sub $5. Like, there's a lot of cheap cards that are just crazy. And this, like, Shimmering Skies is not a bad set. It's a really good set, but like everything is just so cheap right now, and it's great to, if you need cards from Shimmering Skies or speculating on stuff, this is a great time to buy Shimmering Skies cards for sure.
All right, Dylan, any last thoughts as we come into DLC Seattle, which is just a couple of days away?
Yeah, you know, we're going to be out there in full force representing the local Pacific Northwest. Please come say hi, you know, say what's up, talk about finance, talk about meta, talk about the Dodgers and Yankees, whether you like them or hate them, or, you know, the Seahawks, because they're going to be playing. There we go. Andrew's happy about that one. Yeah, we'll be out and about. Come say hi. We'll be handing out stickers to all of you lovely supporters. So yeah, come and grab one, and we'd be happy to meet you.
There'll be 6 vendors at this particular DLC, which is going to be interesting to see where they're pricing stuff at. Remember, everyone, they are a little higher than your average. So if you're looking to drop some coin, bring probably coin and 10%. And always set a budget, as always. But it will be interesting to see as the lists come out on that Saturday evening when the top 64 gets announced and we start seeing some of these deck lists, perhaps with some spice. That Sunday might be a mad rush as soon as we get to the morning to the vendors and pick up those cards that no one saw coming. There's a couple of culprits that saw an immediate jump just on even the Sunday of DLC Vegas. Anna, Diplomatic Queen being one of them. Doc, the 2-drop Doc that refills your hand with 2, and who knows what it's going to be this time. Can't wait to see it be Sisu again, or, you know, God knows what. Looking forward to meeting you all at DLC Seattle. Please drop a like and comment if you are planning to be there, and we will see you there. Everyone have a great night.
Bye.